All right, so those AI stocks, whew, yeah, I mean, you see what's going on with NVIDIA, Super Micro, Marvell Technology, C3 AI stocks are going to the moon, right? All right, in this video, I want to talk about this fever, this AI fever, this artificial intelligence fever and frenzy. Real, hype, boom, bust, what is it? All right. So before I get going, since I mentioned a lot of stocks in this video, I want to give you my disclaimer. I like to talk through it so you actually pay attention. This video, not investment advice. For folks who don't know what investment advice means, is that you have a financial advisor, they actually, sit and consider your risk profile, your income, your assets, your age, all of these things, and then they make decisions or they help you make financial decisions. All those things you got to do by yourself, and we don't do that. I mean, we just talk about stocks, we talk about news, and we make projections, predictions. Part of what we do is also like engagement, entertainment, information, opinion, but not investment advice. Also, any references to performance. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. I mean, the future is always uncertain. And whenever you do anything in the markets, you're not guaranteed that just because something happened in the past is going to happen again. Also, I make mistakes. Our team at ATG Digital Media, they make mistakes from time to time. There's oversights, errors. Also in markets, capital loss is always a possibility. It's a likely outcome. Everyone likes to think about the gains, but the truth is that you can also lose, and you got to be prepared for that. And if you don't want that, then anything to do with markets, because prices move all the time, probably a poor idea. Last, the owners, contractors, employees, associates of ATG Digital Media, which is my company, own, trade, and transact in the investments that I mentioned in this video, and any of the content that is put out by me or by ATG Digital Media. And I'm on Twitter, I've got a podcast on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, all of those things. And I'll mention the website for ATG Digital Media and the Substack in a bit. All right, let's go though to what's going on with chip stocks. I mean, NVIDIA, this was a $8 billion company literally 10 years ago, and today it's $1 trillion. And it's based off suddenly AI. But the truth is that they've been working on this for a while. So that move from 8 billion to 1 trillion is based on lots of technology that they created a long time ago, invested in. But in my opinion, what's going on with chip and semi stocks, in my opinion, is mostly based on hype. And if my understanding of how Wall Street works is right, based on my experience, which is that there's a lot of chip stocks that have been accumulated by, in my opinion, again, market makers, investment banks, and AI hype is a good way to offload them at very high prices onto other people. Doesn't mean that they're going to immediately crash. My general experience is that when you've got the hype cycle, getting going, these things can go on for a while and make newer highs. Doesn't change the fact that's still based mostly on hype, because at some point in time, stock markets are like any other market, which is that if you want a long line of buyers to accumulate large positions, they have to be coming at it from some sort of rational basis. And the rational basis for owning any growth stock, which is like you can see a long trajectory of growth that is not priced into a stock. So the second part is the key here, why I say it's mostly based on hype, which is that NVIDIA, as I said, has been working on artificial intelligence for over 10 years. It's not like the people who really understand and know NVIDIA are sort of shocked or surprised by this, they're coming to buy it. So it means that at higher prices, what are they doing? Well, in all likelihood, they're selling. I don't have direct access to that, but they're selling first slowly, then quickly, and then they'll, dump out of the position. Meanwhile, if you're buying here, you need this thing to jump much, much higher to make money. It has to go from $1 trillion in stock market capitalization to 2 trillion or 3 trillion to make double your money or triple your money. So what I'm doing in ATG digital model portfolios, I'm just playing it out. Like we own some number of chip stocks like Rambus, and we own Micron Technology, we own Pure Storage in our silver tier portfolio. That's our base portfolio, which goes for $9.99 per month, just to be clear. I had a comment from someone saying that people think that it costs $999 per month. Now it's $1,000 per month. I was like, yeah, I think we'd have like no clients, no customers, no subscribers if we charge that. No, folks, it's $9.99 is the silver tier, which is sort of the cheapest tier, the introductory tier, $9.99 per month. We're just playing it out. Rambus is something that we put into the silver tier portfolio when I was at Banyan Hill at about $15, closing in on $70. And you can just see there's nothing that's changed about this business. What has changed is that the price to sales ratio just keeps rocketing higher to somewhere near all-time high. So we're going to play it out. And when it looks peaked out, we'll sell and we'll take our gains and we'll move on. I should have put down RMBS as the ticker symbol, and Micron Technologies MU, Pure Storage is PSTG. My best guess is that by the time we're done with this hype cycle, all the chip stocks will be trading at crazy highs. I don't know, is it going to be a month? Is it going to be 3 months? It's going to be 6 months? Hard to tell, but it's hard to see this level of activity continuing for like 3 years, because these stocks are at high prices, and at high prices, you need more and more and more money to come in. And I think that money can come in from some of these big, large cap stocks that have just gotten humongous, Apple, Microsoft, Google, where people have huge gains. They can sell those and come and buy some of these. But after that, you're going to have to like come up with new money. And with that, you'll see, in my opinion, selling in the chip stocks. So I mentioned this earlier. Why do I think it's mostly hype? Well, using NVIDIA as an example, NVIDIA's price to sales is at an all-time high of 40 times sales. In other words, for every dollar of sales that it is generating, the market is assigning $40 worth of value to it. So that gives it a price to sales ratio of $40, which, take my word for this, is very, very, very high. Especially when you consider that its 5-year growth rate is not 100%, it's not 50%, it's 23%, which truthfully is pretty good. 23% is good. But still, from my experience, when you have 40 times sales, price to sales, with 23% growth, the vast majority of professional investors are going to be like, that is too expensive. And I am going to slowly peel off as the stock goes up. And eventually you run out of buyers, and eventually there's only sellers. Doesn't mean, though, that NVIDIA can't continue to keep making highs, though. Just, fair warning. My experience is that these moments tend to last longer than you might think, and they can go on for a bit, and the gains can be absolutely extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And as I mentioned, if you've been following NVIDIA for a while, you would know like they really made their investments in AI around 2010 and 2011. And you can see that the management of the company was buying back stock in a big way, really accumulating and talking up their AI chip. And largely people mock them. And that is one of the signs that actually, like, hey, something good is going on, and that it's not yet priced into a stock. In other words, generally speaking, into something big, the market is skeptical because it hasn't seen it before. It hasn't happened before. It's not used to it, or it's in a new company. And so the reverse is true, where, at somewhere near the highs, which is that no one's skeptical. Everyone believes it because, like, hey, it's become really clear. Everyone accepts it. And this is like the tricky part about markets. All right. What about, where I think the real AI boom is going to be? Well, if you go to, what is artificial intelligence in the end? Well, you are ultimately sort of using data and information to either sort of automate something that previously you had to do repetitively, that a person had to do, or else you're using this data and information where you have embedded artificial intelligence decision-making systems within your company that are critical to the operation of your company. And so that's where, in my opinion, the boom is going to be. It's going to be in sort of data and information-rich companies that have embedded artificial intelligence into their operations. And that second part is really important because the vast majority of legacy companies simply don't have that second capability. They have not embedded artificial intelligence into their operations or their organizations. And truthfully, many of them have fairly poor data and information systems that are absolutely not up to date. So for them, just building this data information stack is going to be a big ask. On top of that, embedding and using artificial intelligence and implementing it into an organization that is not used to using it. Instead, they're used to much more hierarchical decision systems based on, who the CEO is, who the CFO is, who the COO is. That's just going to be a bridge too far, which is why you want to stick to what I refer to as new world companies and avoid legacy companies, because they're going to start to have to spend big money just on this part, the data and information part, let alone the embedding artificial intelligence part. Meanwhile, new world companies, they have data and information, like, their entire platforms are built on data and information. And from the very beginning, from the get-go, they have embedded the idea of using artificial intelligence, which is ultimately the use of this data and information, at the heart of their operations. I've done a video for Palantir Technologies, so check back on my channel. I believe it was a couple of months ago, and I named Palantir as my #1 stock for 2023 based on AI hype. So, this is something that looked like it was going to unfold. I also made a video on Teledoc, calling it a secret AI stock. And then, of course, I've been on record of talking about Tesla for a long time. Tesla, of course, has the most advanced autonomous self-driving program in the world, full self-driving FSD, as it's referred to, which is the most sort of well-developed artificial intelligence capability we have. And there is a clear business case, use case for personal transportation and for the use of autonomy in personal transportation. It would absolutely plummet the cost of personal transportation. You would no longer need to own a car. The cost of taking trips would really plummet. Now, everybody's very skeptical because we've never had a business like that, but still, people said that about EVs. Hey, we've never had an EV business, and Tesla sells what, $72 billion worth of EVs. They said supercharging is a joke. No, and then, there's no use for that. That network produces something like $600-700 million worth of revenue. And the same thing can be said as well for their existing, the full self-driving software, which generates hundreds of millions of dollars worth of revenue. People said nobody would buy it. So people can be skeptical. Still, we live in an era of extraordinary change. And you can roll your eyes, but still, Tesla is a absolute prime beneficiary of this AI revolution and boom that is unfolding. What about some next wave AI stocks? So I talked about companies that have put AI at the heart of their operations, at the heart of everything that they do. And one of the places that, where AI is really incredibly useful, unbelievably useful and economic, is in finance. And so UPST, which is Upstart, which is a lending company, a digital AI-based lending company. Yeah, they don't do old-fashioned credit checks. They use artificial intelligence instead. And their results are far better than the old way of going through credit scores and whatever due diligence that people do, the old-fashioned way. Yeah, they get their information in real time. They can react in real time versus the old way where you get your information lagged. to begin with, and the information's not that good. It's incomplete, it's biased, it's got all sorts of issues. Artificial intelligence is incredible, absolutely phenomenal in finance. And you will see companies in finance like these really start to boom into the next sort of like, wave up that happens. Lemonade, LMND, is an insurance company, again, with a digital platform using artificial intelligence to price risk, to determine what kind of risks they want to take on. That is just miles ahead, hundreds of miles ahead than any sort of legacy competitor, and they are absolutely going to take market share and also have far less losses as a result of just having artificial intelligence at the heart of their company. Last one is Lending Club, which is essentially like a bank that again uses artificial intelligence for all of their decision making to deal with the bank, whether it be to lend to somebody or where to price deposits or loans. All of these things are determined by so much data and information collected together using artificial intelligence that gives them an absolute astonishing advantage. Now, we've got a ton of artificial intelligence companies, all the ones that I mentioned in our model portfolios. This is an ad, by the way, for subscriptions to provided by my company, atgdigital.media. Subscriptions begin from $9.99. Just want to make that clear, since other people have said that people think that's $999. $9.99 per month. And that gives you access to what's called our silver tier portfolio. There's something like, I think, 45 stocks in it. We've got a number of chip companies like the ones I mentioned, Rambus, Micron Technology, Pure Storage. Those are ones that we've owned for some time. We'll probably look to sell out where we think the top is going to be for these chip stocks, which, as I said, I think are going to be hype. But then we've got, again, a portfolio that's filled with these new world companies where they are data and information rich, and AI sits at the heart of what they do because they are data and information rich. Now, if you want to get a sense for sort of artificial intelligence, these kinds of trends that are absolutely taking over our world, you can also read for free at my Substack, paulmampilli.substack.com. Subscriptions, as I said, to that are free. And hey, the YouTube channel is also free. But hey, help us out, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. I'll talk again. Thank you for watching. This is Paul saying bye.